State v. Michele Linzalone is an appellate division case addressing Miranda, custody, and the emergency aid exception. The defendant called 911 and reported that she had accidentally shot her husband in the head while playing with a firearm. She said she did not know the gun was loaded. The operator assessed the emergency, confirmed the victim was still breathing, and instructed her to place a cloth on the wound while help was sent. 3 officers responded. At the door, an officer asked where the gun was, whether anyone else was inside, and where the victim was. The defendant said the gun and her husband were upstairs, and no one else was home. 2 officers went upstairs to render aid and secure the firearm. A sergeant directed the defendant to sit in the kitchen. He first asked where the firearm was, whether there were other firearms, and whether anyone else was in the house. Those questions were related to safety. The questioning then changed. The sergeant asked what happened, what the defendant meant by playing with the gun, when the shooting occurred, and why she waited 20 to 30 minutes before calling 911. The defendant was not handcuffed and could move within the kitchen, but the sergeant admitted she was not free to leave. She remained in a confined area while an armed officer stood nearby. The encounter lasted about 45 minutes. The trial court admitted the 911 statements and the immediate answers concerning the victim, weapons, and other people under the emergency aid doctrine. It suppressed the later kitchen statements because they resulted from custodial interrogation without Miranda warnings. The appellate division agreed. Custody does not require a formal arrest, handcuffs, or questioning at a police station. It can occur inside a person's home when the restraint on freedom is comparable to a formal arrest. The objective question is whether a reasonable person would believe they were free to leave. Officers may ask narrowly focused safety questions without Miranda warnings when there is an objectively reasonable need to protect life or prevent serious injury. The questions must address the immediate danger, and providing aid must be the officer's primary motive. Here, officers were already assisting the victim, the firearms had been identified, and there was no indication another person remained inside. The sergeant acknowledged that his later questions were for fact-finding. They focused on possible criminal responsibility and were likely to produce incriminating answers. The state's appeal was denied. The law enforcement takeaway is clear. Officers may ask immediate questions needed to locate victims, secure weapons, identify other occupants, and protect the public. Once those safety concerns are controlled, emergency questioning may become investigative interrogation. If the person is in custody, Miranda warnings must come before questions about what happened or the person's potential culpability.